I'm trying to get more information from police. They are getting ready to, I think, go over and brief Scott Johnson. So as soon as he gets information, we'll bring it to you. They couldn't give us any new information right now. What we do know from talking to people who were inside, 2 men are handcuffed.
Hi, it's Melissa Ricon. How are you?
Hey, you're live on Channel 4. I understand you're on the tarmac. What are they telling you? This is a meeting to discuss the budget, but a lot of people are showing up to talk about changing the name of Forest High School. It's been going on for years and years, but now Change.org is involved, and petitioners are very passionate about it. Tom, I talked to Linda Pham's father. He was obviously very upset, and on his way back to the hospital, he's asking for the community to pray for his little girl. Jen, I just talked to him. He's the kitchen manager at Sneakers, and he says he was in the back parking lot on his way into work, and a guy came up to him, pointed the gun at him in a Freddy Krueger mask, a white shirt and khakis, and said, "Give it up." Today wasn't even that bad. The water has gone way down since this morning, but when it gets really bad, this is what they have to deal with. All this debris, this trash, they won't go through the grates into this newly completed retention pond project. Well, a local group is hoping to help clean up some of this mess this weekend. Experts aren't telling people to stay out of the river, although I hope your boat has a little bit more air in it than mine does. But they're saying if you see the green gook, stay away from it. It's hard to imagine this section of Spanish Town, Jamaica used to be all sugarcane fields. But 7 years ago, thanks to Barbara Gilbert and Food for the Poor, now 14 families have a home. Mary, you know, it's kind of eerie out here. Normally you would hear traffic roaring over the bridge, and it's very quiet, and it's probably going to be that way for quite a while.
This will be the most significant delays the city's had in a long time.
This is why. A ship hit the Matthews Bridge. It happened at about 2 p.m. Investigators say 4 tugboats were leading the USNS Harry L. Martin from Blunt Island to the other side of the North Florida shipyard so workers could dredge Blunt Island. The 760-foot, nearly 40,000-ton Navy support ship went under the bridge and at the stern didn't fit. The lift ramp on the left side, which is called the port side king post buttress, hit the top of the bridge. The bridge is about 152 feet high. Obviously, it'll fluctuate depending on the tides and where you are on the bridge. Now, the ship from the water line to the ramp is 148 feet tall. So that gives the ship about 4 feet of wiggle room. With the high tide, the wind tide, and no cargo on board, which would make the ship sit up higher, the ship could easily be taller than the bridge, which it clearly was in this case. The Coast Guard is investigating the vertical clearance of the bridge at the time, why the tugs kept going, and why the lift ramps weren't lowered, which is possible to do. While that investigation continues, the Department of Transportation is focusing on fixing the bridge and getting it back open so the 56,000 vehicles that cross it each day can do so safely.
Everybody's involved in this. This is affecting our broader community, and all the agencies are pitching in to help. Be patient, try to make adjustments whenever possible, and just understand this is going to be a process.
Most bridges in Florida are required by law to have a vertical clearance marker that's on the side of the bridge, so when mariners go under it, they can tell how much room they have. Well, this is one of the bridges that doesn't have that, so captains really have to rely on charts and then factor in the tides to make sure that they can fit. Now, whether that was done or not is something the Coast Guard will be looking into. Reporting live in Talleyrand, Hailey Winslow, Channel 4, the local station.
Hailey, the question on many drivers' minds, I'm sure, any idea from officials how long it could take to repair? Are we talking days? How about weeks?
Well, Mary, you've seen the pictures of the bridge, that dent in the bridge. That doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. There might be more damage that you just can't see. So the DOT is going to have to do a thorough investigation, and then they're going to get an emergency repair contractor in here to fix it immediately. So the short answer is there's no telling.
And we'll be following it every step of the way. Hailey Winslow reporting to us live. Thank you, Hailey.
Tom, I stuck this little GoPro camera in the river, and look at all the slime that I saw. It's been really bad over the past couple months, which the riverkeeper says is pretty late in the season. She says over the weekend she had reports of algae outbreaks in Arlington, Doctors Lake, the Ortega River, and as far south as Black Creek. And we need to do our part to make sure this stuff doesn't make us sick. Right under the surface is green gook. This is what some swim in or get dinner out of.
Every now and then I eat a fish. Every now and then.
The rest of the time, Alfonso Benjamin, who spends his afternoons fishing along San Marcos River Road, gives his catch away and plans to do that with the 3 croakers currently in his cooler. On the other side of town, the St. John's Riverkeeper puts gloves on.
Just in case there's dermatoxins, you don't want to get it on your skin.
And heads to the water's edge to sample the slime. She screws the top on tight and plans to ice it down and send to a lab in Palatka. There, experts will identify the species of the algae and whatever toxins it may carry. She says there's a nutrient pollution problem that stretches across the state and needs to be controlled.
If you use too much fertilizer on your yard, if you fertilize during a rain or right before rain, those excess nutrients wash off into the storm drain and they come to the St. Johns, and that leads to nutrient pollution, which causes these green algae outbreaks.
The outbreaks can be harmful to humans, fish, and wildlife.
When you see green slime like this, you don't want to touch it. You don't want to eat fish out of it. You want to stay away from it.
If you don't, it could lead to skin, respiratory, or even liver problems, depending on the species and toxicity of the algae, which isn't always easy to see in the water.
The wind will turn it up and sometimes pull it under, and so the algae may be present even if you don't see it on the surface. They can be mixed into the water column.
Benjamin may not eat his catch, but he doesn't plan on leaving this chair anytime soon.
I'm gonna come down here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and fish. I love fishing, so that's it.
If you see algae bloom, report it to the river keeper so she can document it, because the more she knows about these outbreaks, the more she can do about it. Now, you can take pictures, but don't touch it. You can contact the river keeper by going to stjohnsriverkeeper.org. Here they go for their big rivalry of the year, the Brain Bowl. It wasn't exactly the electrifying game fans were hoping for, but the Blue Devils did get a really nice interception in the first half, which threw the crowd into a frenzy. And the Stanton Spirit Club kept them going.
It's pretty awesome being like one of the best schools in the nation and still be able to have fun.
Fun is an understatement. First, Emma Smith showed us her shake.
I don't know, my pastor might be watching me on too, but since he's not, I'll just do just a little bit, okay?
Then this guy did what he calls the loogie, and then the students turned me into an official Blue Devil and taught me some new moves.
Say yo! 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 Yo!
But the moment that took my breath away was meeting Mary Tabor, a nurse who just spent 8 months helping people over in Afghanistan.
It was, at times really difficult, but really rewarding. And have a true sense of patriotism, what it means to be an American. I can't really put it to words, but I love this country and this freedom. It's amazing.
She hasn't even been home yet. Came straight to the stands to finally be able to see her son, Pat, play football.
I'm so excited to watch him and just to be home. This is home. Just to see green grass and not dirt and sand. It's amazing.
Her youngest, 10-year-old Andrew, says there's nothing that means more to him than finally having his mom home.
I just was ecstatic. I was emotional.
Pat didn't know his mom was in the stands until this moment. He blew her a kiss, and moments later, she came rushing down from the stands and gave him the hug he couldn't wait for. It's moments like that that put this game into perspective. Of course, the Devils would love to win, but it's just about being there, under the big lights, playing your heart out for the people you love the most.